Good morning, seventh graders. We are going to try something a little bit different today. So we are going to watch our lesson on a Chromebook and work independently to complete the problems on our practice page. And this is going to be an opportunity for you to kind of work at your own pace, but also to go back to the video and hear things again if you need to hear them a second time, or pause the video so that you can work out a problem before moving on. So let's take a look at our outcomes for today. The first thing that we are going to learn how to do is to write equations to represent real-world situations involving integers. And then we're going to be sure that we're applying the rules for adding integers that we learned yesterday to solve these word problems efficiently. So before we move on with word problems, let's do a quick review of the adding integer rules that we discussed in class yesterday. So first we learned that if I'm adding integers with the same sign, so a positive and a positive, or a negative and a negative, then I'm going to add the numbers together and keep the sign the same. So if I'm adding two positives, my answer will be positive. If I'm adding two negatives, my answer will be negative. The second rule that we learned was how to add integers with different signs. So if I have one integer that's negative and one integer that's positive, then I'm going to subtract the two numbers. And then I'm going to take the sign of the number that has the greater absolute value. Before moving into today's lesson and practice problems, it's important that you are able to identify some key words that indicate whether we're dealing with a positive integer or a negative integer. So take a minute and pause the video now and see if you can make a list of as many words that you can think of that would mean a number is positive or that would mean a number that is negative. And you can write them right on your note sheet. All right, now that you've made your own list, let's take a look at my list and see if you've gotten some of these on your paper. So when I'm thinking about a positive integer, I'm going to see numbers like, with this, sometimes don't always have a positive sign in front of them. Remember that positive numbers don't necessarily need to have that. But I'm going to be dealing with words like above sea level, increase, gain, earn, credit, deposit, rise, up or moving upward, and profit. There are a number of words that can indicate that I'll be dealing with negative numbers, and let's check out your list and compare with mine here. So we have below sea level, a decrease, drop, loss, fall, debt, withdrawal, down, or owe. Owing someone some money would be a negative integer. So now that we know some of these keywords, let's take a look at some word problems. The directions for our practice page are on the back of your sheet. So if you flip your paper over and follow along, the directions say, write an equation to represent the situation, then find the sum. So let's take a look at number 1. You park in a garage 3 floors below ground level. Then you get in the elevator and go up 12 floors. What floor do you get off the elevator? So I'm looking for those key words, those key integer words, and I first see 3 floors below ground level, which tells me that I'm going to have a negative 3. Then you get in the elevator and go up 12 floors. So that tells me that I'm going to have a positive 12. I'm adding a positive 12. So I'm going to add these two numbers together using my integer rules and their different signs. So 12 minus 3 is going to give me 9. 12 has a greater absolute value, so my answer is going to be positive 9. So we would get off on the 9th floor. Let's take a look at number 2. A football team loses 5 yards on one play and then loses 8 yards on the next play. How many yards did they lose on the 2 plays? Well, losing 5 yards on one play could be represented with the integer negative 5. And then I'm going to add to that loss a loss of 8 yards on the next play, which could be represented by adding the integer negative 8. How many yards did they lose on the 2 plays? Well, when I add those two together, I get a sum of negative 13. And that negative 13 is a negative number, but it actually means that they lost a total of 13 yards. So that answer statement is really important there. Just negative 13 would not suffice as an answer here. Now it's your turn. Go ahead and pause the video and try number 3 and number 4. When you've completed those, you may play the video and check your answers. So number 3 said a submarine at 21 feet below sea level suddenly moves up about 6 feet. What is the depth of the submarine now? Your equation should have read negative 21 plus 6, giving you a total sum of 15. And that tells us that the submarine is 15 feet below sea level. For number 4, the temperature in Antarctica is 49 degrees below zero. The temperature is anticipated to drop 14 degrees in the next 4 hours. What is the expected temperature? Your equation should have been a negative 49 plus a drop of 14 degrees would be represented by the integer negative 14. And when we add those together, our total would be a negative 63. So the expected temperature would be negative 63 degrees. All right, so now it's your turn. You can end this video, and once you've done that, you're going to complete numbers 5 through 10 on your practice page. If you need help, be sure to visit the help desk in the back of the room. When you've completed today's lesson, please grab an exit ticket from the front of the room and complete it independently. Once you've completed the exit ticket, turn it into your Turn It In bin for your mod, and then you may choose from the following activities: Integer War with a partner, closest to 0 with a group of 3, adding integers mystery picture, which can be found on Schoology, challenge of the week, which can be found on the board, or the Unit 4 project, and you may see Mrs. Friege if you're interested in completing this.